Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Health Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Holly B. Today, I welcome Louisa Shimamoto to the program. Louisa is an inspirational speaker, a business success coach, a mindset specialist, personnel transformational coach, a trainer, and an author. Using her award winning background in coaching, mindset, sales, marketing, leadership, and with the many roadblocks in life that she has warriored through, Louisa weaves experience and story together with insight from her 35 years of business and mindset coaching to share the ups and downs of life, how important your unconscious mind is in getting you to the finish line of your professional and personal goals efficiently. Louisa has owned and built 4 successful businesses. She has various certifications, and she is also life experienced in so many ways. She has also received numerous leadership and sales awards in over 22 years in the insurance industry, television, and radio sales. She has lots of experience in speaking at numerous business events, trade shows, chamber of commerce, business clubs, masterminds, and various business trainings and retreats. She also has experience in TV, film, and stage production. Louisa has such a great, fun personality. She's so joyful and easy to talk to. I knew once I met her in person that I had to have her on the program. And although she is not specifically coming from the autoimmune space, there are so many crossovers in her experience and in dealing with just life's hardships that translate to things that can really be helpful in managing and dealing with a life changing autoimmune condition or other health challenge. Some of the topics that we are diving into today include getting down to the root cause of your fear or why you are stuck. We talk about your life purpose and how to focus on your life purpose and make changes and shifts in your life that make that actually achievable and joyful for you. We talk about really focusing on the positives in any situation, even when it seems just the worst situation that could possibly happen, like getting a lupus diagnosis or having some kind of life altering shift going on in your life. We talk about how to flip that situation and look at it from a positive point of view, experience it from a positive point of view so that you can learn something or teach something out of this situation. We talk about having a community of support and how important that is when you're going through challenging situations. And we really talk about how mindset is the key to moving forward in any circumstance in life. And she also gives us really actionable tips on how to begin that process of identifying your mindset, where you're at currently, where you want to get to, and what steps you can take to get there. All right, listen up to this one. Maybe have a pen and paper ready. There's so many good takeaways from this conversation. Let's dive in now to our conversation with Louisa Shimamoto. Louisa, I'm so happy to have you here to have this conversation today. We were just chatting a little bit earlier, and I said, you know what? Hold on to the story. I'm going to hit record and we're going to dive right in because you have quite a story to share of, I want to say, persistence and I'm sure vulnerability and a story of overcoming hardship. And the women that listen to this podcast, I think, will be able to relate, especially if they were in that autoimmune space that so many of my listeners are in, where they just feel like, God, why is this happening to me?
That's right.
So I'm
Yeah.
just going to let you dive into your story.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because why is this happening to me? I've said that many times to myself, and I'm sure your listeners have too. And sometimes that can just freeze you. And so you just get stuck. For me, it wasn't, my childhood was awesome. But when I started traveling and performing, I actually was kidnapped and raped in another country. And that changed my entire life. I lost Louisa big time. And I don't know how to explain it, but you feel not only less than, embarrassed, guilt, shame, all those things. I took a shower seriously all night long, all night long. I was doing my best to wash away what hurt so bad. And I had to get back on stage and perform the next day. I was a dancer and soloist and producer of a show. And this huge mask was the only way I could get on stage. I had to put on this heavy, heavy mask. Certainly the makeup could cover up the bumps, the bruises, and everything. I'm just thankful I lived through it because as a result, I've been able to help a lot of people. But what I will say is I was stuck for probably a good 10 years. Made a lot of bad decisions, actually. And, but I could not find Louisa. And it was very difficult to trust, certainly men, but I had trouble even trusting women. I didn't trust myself. I didn't feel worthy of anything. Yeah, it was very difficult, but I started to realize that I had a story that I could help other people with. But I did go through suicidal thoughts. I married the wrong person. I was not in love. It was a matter of convenience, I guess. And I just thought that I was damaged goods and no one was going to love me. Yeah, so things like that. And I have a lot of things actually I've gone through, from infertility to major surgeries. I had both hips done last year, both hips replaced, a knee replaced, but a lot of surgeries. But I also have been through divorce, so I can relate to all of that too. And I share these things, even a stalking case. Okay, so bad we could do a movie about it. This guy found me at church, paranoid, schizophrenic, multi-personality, and needed to take his meds. It wasn't taking his meds, but he followed me everywhere and was madly in love with me. My husband was in the way, and a street counselor called and said, you need to file a restraining order and get help. This person wants to kill your husband. Yeah, it could be a movie. That was a really difficult time. I felt fear. Certainly I felt fear in my kidnap and rape, but I don't know, with this, it was just like a repeat of that. And I felt fear like I'd never felt fear before. I couldn't even take the garbage out there because he would come into the neighborhood. He would write me letters, get on just terrible stuff. I was frozen. But I've learned a lot with all of these things, is that not to let anyone or anything ruin your next breath of life. And that I need to really own my life. The good, the bad, the ugly. Own my life. Step into it. And learn from the ugly. What could I do differently? How could I help other people with this? But to really take ownership and take the darn mask off, because it wasn't just one, there were other masks every time I went through something. But I have really learned to step into authentic Louisa and to get my life back. And like I say, to truly own it. Because what I've learned, if you don't own it, somebody else will. Okay. And yeah, so I love what I do today now professionally, and my story has helped so many. In the last 2.5 years, almost 3 now, I have not only transformed, but I have saved actually 15 now from suicidal thoughts. I can remember saving my first, this was a teenager, saving him. It changes you. It changes you big time. And I was born to do what I'm doing. I really have stepped into and it separates me stepping into my purpose and passion from other people in my industry. Because I'm not just book read and certified and all these other things as a business success coach, but a personal breakthrough practitioner. I'm not just certified, but I'm experienced. I've gotten through this mess. Okay. And not just one, but time and time again. And like I said, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm thankful because these challenges were really opportunities. I don't wish these challenges on anybody, but like I said, I'm thankful that I've gotten through it and able to help others get to the root cause of their being stuck, pull the root out so they can have lasting change and clarity, peace of mind that they deserve and can get on with life personally and professionally. So yeah, I love what I do. And it's yeah, so that whole why me, that started happening around, like I said, in my 20s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, not again. you know, but
Yeah,
it's life. Life was never meant to be easy. It is full of challenges. And again, like I said, challenges are opportunities for growth, right?
I do agree. And it does not always feel like that in the moment, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it's hard. And so I'm curious, obviously this has been a lifelong path for you, but when did you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? Like how long did it take you to start realizing that there was an opportunity for growth here for you and then beyond that for other people through you in your experience?
yeah. I would say I was stuck for a good 10 years. Not that I wasn't seeking help, but nothing was really working for me because we weren't getting to the root cause of it. Or sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame. We were never meant to own those things. And so I teach others now to let those negative emotions bounce off our armor. Okay. Imagine yourself in an armor outfit and shine it up every morning. Look yourself in the mirror, speak life into yourself, not death. And there's a choice. And seriously, intentionally every day, take time for you. And like I said, get yourself up and ready to go for the day and greet it and greet adversity. Because again, there's growth on the other side of that.
Mhm.
No, you don't need to own fear. Don't let it own you.
You said something that I want to dive into, which was let's get to you help people get to the root cause of what's keeping them stuck. And
Yes.
I'm all about getting to the root cause of illness, the root cause of why did we end up with this autoimmune condition in the first place? I and you did not refer to your root cause as the actual kidnapping and rape.
Mm-mm.
That was something separate. So dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah, we as humans, we when we come out of the womb, our parents are goo goo and gaga. They're getting us to smile, to walk, all these things, encouraging us. We learn what it looks like to be happy. This is what it looks like. And this is what your hands do and your shoulders do, and all these things. We learn what it looks like to be sad or angry. Ask a kid, they can show you right away because they've learned this. So they're learned behaviors. Okay. So how we respond is key. How we respond to anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame. It all is a learned behavior that happens really during that 0 to 7 age. Okay. And when we repeat the learnings again, it gets stronger and stronger. Okay. And like I said, it can paralyze you. And it's like a chain holding you back in life. So I'm always saying, break the chain, break the chain. But yeah, if we can get to the root cause, in other words, the very first time that maybe you experienced anger. I can remember when I went through this type of modality. and they take you back into your mindset and in your life. It's like neurolinguistic programming and timeline. You just go back. And I can remember the first time I did that. And she goes, Louisa, just trust your unconscious mind. And I want you to go off to back to the very first time. And I'm like, of anger. And I'm like, I don't do anger. And she goes, oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Okay. So I just trust it. It went all the way back to when I was like, I didn't have diapers on. So I'm thinking probably 3, maybe 4. But my dad was a high school basketball coach, boys. And I was raised with boys. And so my brothers were, Saturdays was always there working out with the basketball and watching them. And my brothers and I would be off in the corner playing while mom went shopping with the one car. In those days, you had one car, right? So Saturdays, dad was with the team. We were there. So anyway, one day, everybody goes in after practice, goes into the locker room, the boys' locker room. So I just go in like I had many times before. And my dad's hand came out and said, no, honey, you can't come in here anymore. And I'm like, what? I was really angry and I was really mad. And I could see with my eyes closed, I could see me pounding on the door, crying, angry. And my dad's on the other side of it in the locker room where his office was. And I was just bawling. I didn't know I was different. And that was the first time I was treated like an outcast. And I was like, but you know what it did? It lit a fire under my butt to prove to my dad and the world that a woman could do. I can, I will, you watch me. And that warrior attitude of mine was birthed with that event. So when I went through this with my gal that was helping me, I couldn't believe I could see, I hadn't thought about that. Forever, or even remembered it. I was too young. I could see myself in that whole situation. That's what I mean by get to the root cause. Pull the damn root out and learn from it. And that's what I learned is that's why I've always been, I don't give up. I'm very successful, whether it be sales or whatever. I shoot for number 1. I just go, go, go. And it's because of that event. That's where I got it from. So by getting to the root cause and flip it from a negative to a positive, learning from it, you can break the chain. That's a good example for you. Okay. And some people will say to me, oh, I don't remember anything from my childhood. It's all black. It's all dark. And in some cases it is. With trauma, there is. In your brain, your unconscious mind runs the body and so forth, takes care, stores all your memories, but all your emotions are stored there. That's where change happens too, is with the unconscious mind. So that is my specialty. And I get people, like I say, in a healthy way to own their life, change their story. You're the author of it. Rewrite the script, you know, and step into who they need to be for themselves, for their family, for their business, and their community too. You can reach back and help somebody. This recent, is it 2 weeks now that we had this fire? I don't know.
That you guys had the fire. Really quick, Holly B here. I just wanted to interrupt the podcast to ask you for a quick favor. Can you take just a moment to like and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you are listening in on? It makes a world of a difference. And the reach of this podcast, it takes like literally under 10 seconds. So go do that right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And now back to the episode.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like I said, that's another one to add to my story. And I was so calm. I heard 3 explosions. I heard they're pounding on the door. I grabbed my dog and I got out. And I've learned so much about some things perhaps I should have grabbed, like the car keys because I had to go back in to get those because other people's cars were exploding and mine hadn't gotten touched yet by the fire. But let's just say the paint bubbled up and things, but they was, whose car is that? I'm like, it's mine. So I had to run back in and get my car keys. So yeah, so I've learned a lot from that experience too, that we're experiencing right now, that I can certainly, with different networking things that I have and maybe have a table, I'm going to have an emergency thing, a little checklist. Because, for example, my contacts were rock hard with just the smoke and everything.
Mm.
So, yeah, have a little kit by your door, maybe like a thing you roll onto the airplane and have an old pair of glasses, doesn't matter, something in there, but maybe copies of your driver's license, copies of different things that you have. But even an extra set of keys in there that you could roll away. But yeah, I was thinking about, oh, the baby books, the wedding. I need to digitize those things so you don't have to lose your life on it, trying to go back and get that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can relate to all these people in LA that have been displaced. We're living in a hotel right now. We can't we didn't have anything burned, but smoke damage is horrible.
Yeah, it
Toxic,
is.
toxic. But yeah, when as I was thinking about the fire, even the first night, because I couldn't sleep, I was like, I'm going through this for a reason and a purpose, and I need to add this to my story. It's just one life happens, and it's how we show up, how we deal with it that's really important, isn't it?
Mhm. I
You
can
know,
certainly relate. I know for me, like we were chatting earlier, and you said mindset is number one, and
it
for me
is.
too. And that's the first thing that I work on with my clients because it's the first thing that for me started making a difference in my health and my overall life experience. And I didn't realize that prior to that, I had been living reactionary,
Mm.
reacting to things instead of responding to things. I assumed that the thoughts that were in my head, the thoughts that I was thinking about myself, my situation, were truthful and factual and realistic, when in fact they were just things that were looped on repeat that weren't
Right.
even necessarily the case. It's just what my nervous system was used to. And that's what I was living by. And that caused a lot of dysregulation in my nervous system. And that, of course, started way back. We could unravel all this stuff 20 plus years ago, but it just is such a light bulb moment for me when I finally started putting the puzzle pieces together of, oh, I'm not my thoughts. I can choose my thoughts or I can
Right.
disregard my thoughts. I can say,
Yeah,
"Oh, hi, I recognize you," and then let it go and
that's true.
change it. And I think you said something earlier like about the power of your words
Oh,
and being
so
really
important.
intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
can you
Speak life into yourself. Some people are harder on themselves than anybody in their wildest dreams would speak to them. And that it seriously isn't helping you, and it seriously is affecting your health too. Speaking life is a choice. Okay. But here's a visual for you. The word can't. Take a huge pair of scissors and I want you to cut that T off. Okay. Cut it off. It's not doing you any good. Focus on what you can do, not on what you can't. A lot of my clients will say, oh man, I'm so stressed out, anxiety. What is anxiety? It's future based fear. Okay, so are you worrying about something that's a realistic fear? There is realistic fear. Okay, if there's a lion around or whatever, you need to be cautious. Okay, that's fear. But there's other fear that's not. And that's what causes anxiety. And to own your life, own your words, intentionally speak life into yourself. Okay. And yeah, 95% of us is unconscious behavior. The conscious mind is only 5%. People think that's the one that, no, it's only 5%. And it tends to be negative. Why? Because the world is negative. So the unconscious mind runs the body. It's not the heart that runs the body, it's the unconscious mind that runs the body. And it doesn't know the difference between truth or fiction. So you have to tell it what you want. That's why when I help people set their goals, is they've got to be realistic, time sensitive, descriptive. So, your unconscious mind can grab it and take you to the finish line. That's how you get there. It's the unconscious mind that gets you going, gets you into action. Okay. But yeah, the words are so important. People will say, "Oh, I'm going to try da 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 da." And I'm like, "All right, pick up your pen." And I said, "You either pick it up or you don't." Okay. Try it. Is you're setting just 1% doubt is 100% uncertainty. So speaking 1% doubt, I'm going to try, oh, I might do, you're setting yourself up already for a challenge, for failure. Okay. You're just tap dancing on the outside. So so I help people change that choice into I am going to, or I am working on, or what have you. Own it. Okay. Here's another example. We have energy leaks in our life. Women, it's called laundry. Here's an example. When we walk past the laundry and it's still there and you're trying to do something else, it's robbing you. You're just looking at it all the time. What I'm here to say, here's a thought, is to say, okay, I'm going to deal with you on Sunday at 2:00. You know what? The next time you go by, it's not going to rob you because you've already designated when you're going to do it, and your mind will help you focus on what you need to.
That is so simple. And I
Yeah.
so relate to that energy suck.
It is. It's an energy suck for sure. It's terrible. It robs us. So think about that. So living intentionally is something my husband and I really focus on, is that to have a meeting with yourself once a week to see how you're doing professionally and personally, do a review. What would you do different? What'd you do? What did you do differently? Keep track of your wins. That's why I wrote my win book, is that keeping track of your wins, your unconscious mind will help you look for more wins. And just a little side note on that, it was my dad that started me on the win book. That's why I dedicated the book to him. I didn't sleep well at night, I guess, as a kid either. Dad would always say, okay, let's talk about your day. What was your win? And I'd tell him. There were times that he would say, okay, what was your win? And I said, Dad, I had a bad day today. I didn't have a win. And he goes, well, yes, you did. Okay. So he was teaching me how to take something that happened that I thought was a negative or whatever and flip it into a positive. By learning from it, it became a win. Okay. So I teach intentionally people to look for the win, and not only in the month, but the day, the hour, but the minute. So what could you do at a grocery store to help somebody? That's a win. Put their garbage cart away for them. Maybe just even say hello. You can give life to people by just smiling. It's amazing. If you just go outside of your world a little bit and reach back and help somebody, oh my gosh, it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And in doing so, you're helping yourself.
Amen.
By
Yep,
smiling at somebody else, you're smiling internally too. It
that's right.
reflects back on you.
Absolutely. I can remember one fella I'll say, how you doing? And I'll stop. Some people go, oh, how you doing? They'll just walk by. Louisa stops and I stop. How you doing? And I'll have a conversation. And this one fellow was an older gentleman, and he looked at me and he goes, he was just so dumbfounded that somebody wanted to have a conversation with him. And he goes, no one's talked to me for 3 months. That's how shocked he was. And he
Wow.
started to cry. And his wife had died and during COVID. And he didn't even know how to speak at that point. He was just shocked that somebody was interested in having a conversation. But yeah, I intentionally do that a lot now.
Hmm.
I will. stay by and listen.
Mm-hmm.
Even the other day, I went to go get those crazy masks. I don't know if you saw my picture on Facebook, but they have filters on the side. There are these ugly things, but they actually had one that had pink things. So I bought that one and got the gray one for Alan. But I put that on. I was shopping for it at Lowe's. It was Lowe's.
This is for the
And
smoke inhalation. Yeah.
yes, to filter out all the chemicals and stuff because they told me I can't go in the house with the way it is. And those little cloth things do nothing for that chemical.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so I'm shopping for this. This guy comes by and I have my little Yorkie with me and he comes by and he has a little dog too. So we're talking and everything. And I said, so how's your day going? He goes, and he paused. He goes, okay. And I go, is it? And I said, what can I help with anything? His wife had died just a few months ago. So you just don't know. And we talked for 45 minutes standing there with masks. We were checking out masks. But, you just don't know what people are going through. You don't. And they don't always know what we're going through either. But what I've learned is to be authentic and educate people from what you're going through and what you've learned.
I think, yeah, it's amazing how much we can actually have in common or how much we can actually share with somebody. And that connection is so important. And I think, especially within the space that I work in, within the autoimmune space, having that community is vital because you can feel like you're on an island by yourself because nobody around you knows what you're going through because they haven't gone through it themselves,
Right.
because you haven't told them a whole number of different things there. But having a community that you can feel safe to talk about your hardships with is so important because we can learn from each other's experiences.
Yeah. Community is awesome. That support system is priceless.
Mhm.
It really is. And if people don't have a community, they need to seek one out. And it sounds like you've built an awesome one. And I just am so excited that you're doing that because it is important to surround yourself with others that can relate and
Mhm.
help build you up too, so you can learn from one another. Because we all have our good days and we have our bad days, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually the one thing where I think we have to be very intentional in community is it's very easy to go down the woe is me rabbit holes. And
Yes.
sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to have a safe space to do that in because sometimes when you're having that hard day and it just feels like the world is crumbling around you, you got to be a little woe is me, and that can actually be healthy, I think. But when it turns into just a cycle of gossip or a cycle of this is bad and that is bad, and I can't do this anymore and I can't do that anymore, and my body hates me, and XYZ, fill in the blank,
Mm-hmm.
we can't get stuck in that. So I think that is where also having just being very conscious about the community that you have become a part of to make sure that there are those kind of checks and balances, I think, for those rabbit holes to where
Absolutely.
we can go down them, but somebody's going to pull us out.
Yeah. And what I believe that if people could learn to, when they're having and stuck in that, is to focus on what they can do. What can you do? Can you take a walk? Is there some stretch that you can do that would help there or that? Because there's times to be an ER and do the wham wham, but there's times where it's not helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of finding a way that you can flip it into a positive, learning from it. And that's where, like I said, the win book, if people would start logging their wins. I know for me, what I love to do when I'm having a challenged day is I'll go back to my book, and it's hard to continue in that negative state because when you go back and you see all the wonderful things you've done day in and day out that are in your win book, it will help you flip it, okay, into a positive. And that's the thing is that you can owning your life, you can't change somebody else's life only to a point. So sometimes if it's something that you can't control and it's somebody else speaking a negative, again, let it bounce off your armor. You don't have to own that. It's not yours to own. Okay. Do what you can to help, but protect your mindset. Protect your mindset. So important for personal as well as professional. Okay. But mindset is number one. Alan and I teach 5 different pillars for success. And the very first one is mindset.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, even with my father coaching basketball, he taught mindset before he even taught him how to dribble the basketball, because it really is all about what you can do and believing in self. Okay. So important.
And for someone that is struggling with a health challenge or maybe some other life challenge, but they are an entrepreneur or
Mhm.
they are really passionate about whatever their job is, and they're struggling with being able to put that energy into it because of whatever the challenges they're going through. How do you help somebody kind of work through that? I assume it starts with mindset, but also focusing on the cans.
Yeah,
But can you give any other points?
absolutely. Absolutely. Priority, it's important to have your priorities in life defined. And the thing, personal is way before professional. Okay. You've got to take care of self first. Okay. So again, speaking life into yourself intentionally on a daily basis. And there's several different things that I teach of different mantras that you can speak into yourself, letters that you can read to yourself, or having quiet time. There's a lot of different things you can do. And then, but for professional, it's 2 separate things, but they do affect each other. Okay, they do. It's not like there's a door that closes and you forget about your personal stuff when you go to work. That just isn't it. Okay. So it starts personal. Okay. And it starts mindset. Because if you focus on business and that's your number one, you burn out. Okay. And so you really have to take it. That's why on an airplane, they have you put the mask on first. You've got to take care of self first before you can assist anyone else. And women, we take care of everybody and we give ourselves the leftovers. And we need to stop doing that. We need to take care of self first to efficiently and effectively help others. But that way we don't, I can't tell you how many women I help that are don't love themselves. And I understand that. I was there when some of the stuff I've been through, but forgive yourself. And I'm starting to cry because I've helped so many women to forgive themselves. They speak horrible to themselves. So it's a matter of forgiveness and love yourself intentionally. And
Yeah, my theme for the year is I am enough.
ooh,
Because I have realized that even with all the work that I've done, even
mm-hmm,
with all the mindset stuff, even with prioritizing myself, there's still a piece there in the back of my brain chattering away saying I'm not doing enough. I'm not getting enough done. I'm not successful enough. I'm not getting enough housework done. I'm not getting enough work done. Not
where,
enough is the
where's
common
that?
theme.
So it's good that you're coming up with that because you need to believe that.
Yeah.
So where has that come up before in your life? Where did you first started feeling like you're not enough? Did somebody tell you weren't and you believed it? When did you start believing that?
I'm honestly not sure. I haven't gotten to that root yet, but I can see themes of it in different parts of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working on identifying that root.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understand. Because again, you're right. It's very necessary to believe in self that you are enough.
Mhm.
Okay. You can still grow and stretch and do more, but you were given air in your lungs for a reason and a purpose.
Right. Hey, I just wanted to jump in here and interrupt the program for just a hot minute. You know that I'm so passionate about this podcast, but what I'm also really passionate about is helping women with lupus minimize their symptoms, boost their energy so that they can indulge in life again. So if you are a woman who is struggling with lupus, who is sick and tired of being sick and tired, who's struggling to manage your flares, if you're finding that your lupus symptoms are just really getting in the way of you being able to live your life the way you want to, I feel you. I've been there myself and I felt the same way. And what I've found is that there are a certain set of health fundamentals that once applied, will support you in your foundational health. They will support you in building and maintaining that energy, minimizing flares, and allowing you to, again, indulge in life and follow your passions. So, if that is something that you are interested in creating for yourself, let's jump on a call together. I will walk you through the process that I use with my clients to get them from sick and tired to strong foundation of health by implementing my Health Bridge protocol. If this is something you're interested in chatting more about, I would love to talk to you. Apply for a free clarity call with me, and I look forward to getting to know you soon. And now back to the episode.
Step into it,
Yeah.
own it. And yeah, there's just, it just, I think the number one thing that I get really frustrated with is when people think it's okay to stay stuck. It's not. I'm here to tell you, it affects your whole body. Okay. It affects people around you. Okay. And it's so it's not okay. It's just not. But that's why I do what I do professionally, is because that's my purpose, is to help people figure it out, get to the root, and truly, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So having your priorities straight and what's important to you is really important. So yourself, whether it be a spouse, kids, that type of thing, all of that comes before work. Mhm. So but being in alignment is so freeing to take off all those masks and everything. It's just, yeah, there's freedom in it. Mhm.
And just to define a little further for everyone listening, what does being stuck look like in case somebody hasn't identified that yet?
That's a good one. Yeah. Stuck looks like fear is holding them back. They're just happy, complacent, and where they're at in business. And they're not growing, but if you're not growing, how long are you going to be in business? So they're stuck. Personally, you're wearing a lot of masks. Okay. And I can feel it. With everything that I've gone through, I've been given eyes from my higher power to really see and feel what's going on. I could tell you story after story after story where I've been put in the right place at the right time to help people. It's just amazing. So, yeah, I just think it's to really take some time and ask yourself really some serious questions and write it out. What's important to you? And here's another one. I have women do this. What do you love about yourself? What do you dislike about yourself? Believe me, it drives me nuts because the ladies will fill out a full page and maybe 2 pages of what they dislike, what they love about themselves. It's hard for them to fill out. Why? We don't forgive ourselves. And just as you said, we don't think we're enough. We've got to flip that. We've got to flip it into a positive. What can we do? What have we done?
Yeah. Because I think that not being enough feeling is a root cause of autoimmune conditions and other health issues, chronic health issues. I really, in my gut, believe that to be true. Are there scientific things going on there too? Is there other triggers? Of course there is, but we're talking the root cause. It's this little seed that was planted, like you said, usually between 0 and 7, or when some traumatic incident happened, and these seeds are planted, whether we realize it or not. And all of a sudden, this huge tree is now hanging over our heads of this I'm not enoughness, or whatever it is for each individual. It could be something different, but it's something based in fear or
It
lack.
is.
And
Well,
I think it leads to these things.
absolutely. I helped 2 brothers, twins, that have a business together. And they were having some challenges. They've been in business for a while, but they were starting to buck heads. So I worked with both of the twins separately. And it goes all the way back to the womb. They were in a tight space in the womb. They were having trouble in there. They come out of the womb and now they've got to share time with mom. And how come he's getting more time with mom than I am? Or how come he's getting fed first? Or that whole thing started way back. Once I was able to get to the root for them, their business is exploding. And it's really interesting how one brother felt the other brother. They both thought each other was, you know what I mean? It was really interesting. But to have them figure it out and look at the positive and forgive the other brother, forgives the mother. She was doing the best she could to take care of two boys at the same time. All of this, that forgiveness is very important. So I would say, even for you and your audience, is to forgive self with the illness, the thing, whatever it is that you're dealing with. You don't have to own that, and you don't have to let it own you. I can remember even with my 2 hips, it's nowhere near your autoimmune disease, but having both hips done last year and very limited what I could or couldn't do, and not fun at all. But there were some rough days that I had to look at what I can do. I kept forcing myself to look at what can I do. So even if it's a matter of doing a couple squats, yeah, it hurts, but I'm going to do a couple squats today to build up, because just going to the bathroom was a hard thing to do with both hips. And so like I said, I would practice and just do these squats to work to build up. So that's what I guess is to find out what can you do and what brings you joy. What brings you joy? Find that and do more of it. You deserve that. I know right now this weekend, my husband has a healthy addiction to pickleball. Yes. And it's awesome. I'm very excited for him. He has a lot of fun doing it, met a lot of people, and even got a couple medals this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. So in a tournament, find out what you can do
Yeah.
and focus on that. when you focus on the other, you got to cut that T off because it's not healthy. But like I said, is it necessary to focus on the things you can't do? And no, that negative is not healthy. Shake it
Mhm.
off, shake it
Mhm.
off, shake it off, get rid of it. Let it bounce off your armor. Boom.
Love that, Louisa. I know we're at the end of our hour here.
Uh,
Any last thoughts that you want to leave with our listeners?
I just thought I thank you for this incredible opportunity, Holly. What is my purpose is all of your listeners. If I have helped in any way, hopefully they heard something that they can ignite and get going inside their own life. And but flipping it, like I said, to learn to flip a negative into a positive and become the flip it queen like myself. Just help everybody else. I did that on the playground, you guys. My parents wouldn't allow a negative in the house. Oh, here comes flip it. So, it's okay. It was a good thing for me to learn. And I really would hope that they would grab onto that and own their life. Like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's okay. Learn from it. What are you going to do differently? And get there. Do it.
One step at a time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Louisa, where can everybody find you?
accelerategrowthcoaching.com and then accelerategrowthcoaching@gmail.com. And then also I have Ignite Your Warrior. That's my women's retreat that I have, Ignite Your Warrior. And it's a .com that you can go there and learn more about not just the coaching, but personal mindset stuff. I'm a speaker and do a lot of things. And like I said, they know of a stage, whether it be a community or it could be a church or what have you. The youngest child I've saved from suicidal thoughts is 11. And that scares me. Why is an 11-year-old planning their whole suicide? So yeah, who do they know that I could impact and help? And if you want to put my phone number up on the screen or whatever, you're welcome to do that too. Okay. But Coach Louisa is what I go by. The last name is Shimamoto, and a lot of people can't remember it or spell it. So I go by Coach Louisa a lot. So, but that's how they can find me is Accelerate Growth Coaching. My husband and I have been married for 30 years and working together for 30 years. He's also a coach. So,
Awesome. Yes. And I will put all that information in the show notes so that people can reach out to you. And this has just been a wonderful conversation, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining me.
oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been my honor to be here. Thank you so much, Holly. Okay. Bless you.
That was such a good conversation. And Louisa really pinpoints so many things that are so important in the healing process when it comes to taking control back over your health circumstances and really creating your own authenticity within your health journey. Really choosing to take intentional steps forward in creating a healthy life for yourself is so important. And she spoke to so many different steps that you can take to begin that process, and mindset being the first part of it. As I said in the episode, really learning how to pay attention to my mindset, how to pay attention to the words I was choosing to think about myself and my situation. As Louisa was saying, women, especially people in general, can be their own harshest critic and just speak the most unspeakable things to themselves that they would never say to anyone else, and no one would ever say to them. And that was me as well. And I still catch myself doing it sometimes on a much lesser scale than before. But now I can catch those things and recognize that it's this pattern that's trying to keep repeating itself. And I can catch it and I can flip the script, as she was saying earlier. And that is something that I work on with my clients, is how to actually flip that script so you can start having a different experience of your health and a different experience within this journey that you're on. She was talking a lot about anxiety, and anxiety being future based fear. There's definitely some legitimate fear that can come up, right? When you have an autoimmune condition like lupus, maybe cancer, maybe some other life circumstances that are coming up, there can be some legitimate fear experienced. And we're not saying that that's not the case. What we are saying is, how are you responding to that fear versus are you reacting to it? And is the fear completely realistic, or are we running down a rabbit hole with it? It's true that when you have a health circumstance such as lupus, you don't have 100% control, right, over what may happen in the future. And of course, it's the doctor's job to tell you all the really bad things that could come about from this condition. However, if we get stuck in that fear, that anxiety over future possibilities, that's a recipe for worse health, worse outcomes. So when you work with someone like myself or someone like Louisa or another coach or mentor, it's to help you and give you tools so that you don't get stuck in those rabbit holes. And ultimately, I see these life challenges, health or otherwise, as Louisa said, they are life lessons for us. We're given hardships for a reason. Are we ever going to know exactly what that reason is? Maybe not, but something can come out of this. There is some learning within this situation for you, and it's there to teach you to love yourself more. That's my belief. It's there to teach you to love yourself more. So, with all that being said, it would mean the world to me if you would share this episode with somebody that could really benefit from this message. Share this with somebody you love, a friend, a loved one, a coworker. We'd really appreciate it. The more we can get this episode out there, the more people we can help with our message. So, thank you so much for listening in today. If this message resonated with you also, and you are on your health journey and you are looking for that community, you are looking for ways that you can uplevel your own health by taking positive steps in your health journey, reach out to me. I'd love to jump on a free call with you and strategize, see what could be your next biggest game-changing shifts that could really move the dial for you in your health experience. Find all the links below to Louisa's information as well as mine. And thanks for listening. I look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of the Health Bridge podcast.